Hello, welcome to the Parish Line, a production of CGov, the Calcasieu Parish Government Channel, about the events, programs, and policies of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. On this month's program, we'll learn about a project designed to help troubled youths and homeless dogs. We'll see how the parish acted quickly to move the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness when a water leak severely damaged their offices. And we'll give you information on when you need a permit for your home projects. First, elections are coming up this fall. Molly Morgan has details on registering and voting early.
Voting is a privilege that we as citizens in this country enjoy and should always be exercised. It is an avenue in which our voices can be heard. Angie Quinalty, Register of Voters for Calcasieu Parish, explains.
This office is in charge of the voter registration for all of Calcasieu Parish. At this point, we have 124,000 plus registered voters for this coming election. So we keep track of all the registration, the addresses for those, change of addresses, party changes, absentee ballots for these registered voters. In addition to the voter registration, we do conduct early voting for each election in this office here, as well as the Sulphur City Council chambers. So early voting is a big part of our job. We do mail-outs for the absentee for military and overseas. We also do mail-outs for the 65 and older or the handicap program in Calcasieu Parish. So those students that are attending college away that want to vote absentee, we mail their ballots to them as well. Other than that, some of our other duties, we do petitions. We confirm petitions for either annexation or for various reasons to the governing authorities or city councils for propositions that maybe the voters may be wanting to put on their ballots there. But our main focus is voter registration and early voting.
Voters 65 and older may take advantage of a unique way of voting.
If you're 65 and older, you can request to be placed on that particular 65 and older program. Once you make that request, you stay on there till you make a change as to whether you move or whatever. So it's a one-time request for the 65 and older, simply because they paid their dues. Maybe they want to have their ballots mailed to them, and they just don't. Sometimes they have a mobility problem as they get older. Arthritis just really gives them a hard time. So we do offer that opportunity for them to vote by mail if they choose. But you make a choice and you get your ballot by mail thereafter. You can't go in and out.
Ballots are mailed out in a timely fashion.
As soon as the ballots are sent to us, we mail the military first and foremost because of what they do for us. The military goes out first, and that is determined by when the Secretary of State sends the ballots to us. And they get them to us as quickly as they possibly can. After qualifying ends and they determine who and what will be on the ballot for that election, the ballots are printed and then they send them to us, and we're ready to go with everything prepared, and all we're ready to do is put the ballots in the envelope and we send them out. Then we do our local people, 65 and older, students away from home, attending college and so forth. So we send them out anywhere like 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time before the election.
There will be a full ballot for the October 2nd election.
We have the Lieutenant Governor for the state of Louisiana. We have a police jury proposition for the courthouse and jail maintenance. We have 2 constitutional amendments, which I have not gotten the material on that yet. We have various school board members. The police jury has their sales tax on the ballot. That includes outside city limits, excluding Ward 1. The Sulphur City has a sales tax. Westlake has a chief of police, mayor, and some city council members. Iowa has a chief of police, mayor, and some city council members. DeQuincy has some city council members, and we have a Niblets Bluff Park Commission that has a proposition on the ballot. So it will be a very full ballot. We do encourage voters to be an informed voter and know what they're voting on.
Voters need to be mindful of the upcoming election dates.
I'd like to remind the voters that early voting for that particular election will start on Saturday, September 18th and go through Saturday, September 25th. The hours will be 8 o'clock a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m., excluding Sunday, of course. Remind that you need to bring your photo ID with you when you come in, and if you bring your voter card, it helps process things much faster. We do anticipate a pretty heavy turnout on that, so be prepared to have just a little bit of a wait as compared to before where you just walk in and out. There's a lot of items on the ballot, and especially when you get to dealing with constitutional amendments. We have a privilege here in the United States to vote. These are very important items. You're voting on people that will be making decisions for you every single day. You have mayors, you have city councils, you have chief of police. There are tax selections that you need to fund the operations of the facilities here. Many lives have been given that we have this privilege. Other countries would love to have this privilege. So please exercise your right and go vote on Election Day, either in early voting or Election Day. But exercise that privilege that we have.
For more information about registering to vote and where, contact the Calcasieu Parish Register of Voters Office at 721-4000. For the Parish Line, I'm Molly Morgan.
If you would like more information on the two parish tax proposals on the ballot, visit our website at cppj.net. Every kid should have a dog, and every dog should have a home. Margaret Higgins has details on a parish program that helps them both.
Troubled teens and homeless pets may not seem to be a good combination, but for some, it could be a new beginning. Anthony Celestine, director of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury Juvenile Detention Center, gives us an inside look on a very special program that brings teens and rescued dogs together.
It's a collaboration between the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury's Office of Juvenile Justice Services, Animal Services, and the Humane Society, the Southwest Louisiana chapter. And what it is a rehabilitation and training program for rescued dogs that are rescued by the Animal Services and are hand-selected to come here and train on basic obedience with the kids in the Juvenile Detention Center.
Beth Silbert, volunteer for the Humane Society and director of the People's Advocate, tells us more.
So the project is based on the Animal Planet Cell Dogs project, and we came up with the name called New Leash on Life. And the dogs come to us from the animal shelter, and they come, as you can see, they live here at the Juvenile Detention Center with the kids, who then are selected. They volunteer, and then they have to go through a selection process after they volunteer to then care for, rehabilitate, and train these dogs, and they're responsible for them 24/7 until the dog gets adopted.
Juveniles are screened and must meet a certain criteria to participate in the program.
Namely, they need to be here in excess of 29 days. They can not have any type of past adjudications dealing with animal violence. They also have to have the right temperament to work with the animals. And those criteria, amongst a few other things, basically tied in with behavior in the facility, will determine who we will select to work with the animals.
Kelly Taylor, Programs Coordinator for the Juvenile Detention Center, Office of Juvenile Justice Services, explains the selection process and what is expected.
The selection process that we use to match the children to the dog training program is we have a team of members from the detention center that staff daily, which consists of Mr. Celestine, the Director of Detention Services, and also our detention counselor and our detention nurse and several other members of the detention, and we'll staff which child is best suited for this program. You know, what will help them also, if there's some of them that are shy, might bring them out of their shell, or if they need to learn how to take care of someone or something like that. It's a very simple process, but we do take it very seriously because this is not only for the child but for the safety of the dogs. They go out 3 times a day. In the morning, they'll go out before school and they'll feed and clean the cage. In the afternoon, they'll play with them, bond with them, train them.
Sally Stride, professional dog trainer, talks about the type of training used in this program.
We do all positive reinforcement techniques, which means we don't use any choke collars, any pinch collars. We don't even force the dog into a sitting position or pull it down into a down position. We basically use a lot of treats or toys, anything that the dogs will work for, and then reward them for the correct behavior. And we've found this with kids in particular. We'll teach them patience and teach them that life isn't about instant gratification, and you do need patience to get out of life what you want. And so the dogs also respond a lot better to that. There's no negativity as far as the kids go or as far as the dogs go. So it teaches everybody patience.
Beth gives us the details on how the dogs are selected.
We test them. It's actually a very, very simple process. Our volunteer trainer, Sally Stride, does a number of little tests that she does on their temperament, sort of pulling ears, pulling tail, touching their paws to make sure that they can handle being pet. She has them around each other. She throws food down and makes sure that there's no problem. And then the last test I am proud to say I developed, which is called the moron test. And that's the one where you go and you hug the dog with your face right in the dog's face. I'm the one that has to do that, hence the name the moron test, because if I'm wrong, I should be the one to face those consequences. But that's the last test, because the magic that happens when the kids first come on this project and they realize that I'm here in the detention center, but you mean I get to play with dogs? And that magic in that first 30 seconds, it's almost hard to sort of stop the kids from doing their own version of the moron test. So that's why I do it first, make sure there's no problem.
So what are the end results from this program?
We've seen just much blessings for the kids here in the detention center. It's given them more self-worth. They've actually learned to care for somebody other than themselves. And whether it's an animal or a human, they're still benefiting from the interaction. So it's a positive for us in every direction.
The new Leash on Life program has been successful for both juveniles and dogs. To date, 45 dogs have been adopted because of this program. For the Parish Line, I'm Margaret Higgins.
And Zilbert emphasizes not to try the moron test at home. For more information on the new Leash on Life program, call Tony Celestine or Kelly Taylor at the Office of Juvenile Justice Services at 721-3900. You are watching the Parish Line, a production of CGov, the Calcasieu Parish Government Channel, about the events, programs, and policies of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. When do you need a permit for a project at your home? The permit office at the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury receives dozens of questions about permits every month, asking that question. Jessica Conrad helps to answer it with a visit to the permit office.
The permit office provides permits as well as help, from planning new construction to remodeling a home or business to demolition of structures. The permit office works with citizens across the parish to maintain a safe community. Citizens, as well as government and private agencies, use the records the permit office holds as a source of information.
Not for just your obvious reasons, such as your health and safety and of the structures that you're going to be living and working in, but yes, for property value reasons, for state and federal funding. Oftentimes, people will use the permit office as a base for record keeping. Insurance companies use this all the time. State and federal agencies will call our offices. Lending, mortgage companies will call our office for records.
While the permit office is a source of record keeping, it is up to each individual to contact the office to determine if a permit is necessary for a project.
Permits are required for most anything that you do as far as development goes. We're talking any type of new construction, residential, commercial, industrial, any type of remodeling project that you may have, if you're remodeling the interior of your home or business. Also, if you're adding on to your home or adding on to a business or storage building, all of those need permits. Workshops, things of that nature also. If you're doing any electrical work, if you're upgrading your panel box on the inside, your circuit breaker box, if you are rewiring your home, if you're changing out plumbing, not necessarily fixtures. If you're changing a sink or a toilet, we're not so much interested in that sort of thing. But if you're actually changing the piping to those, we're definitely going to want to see that.
Along with construction projects, moving a mobile home requires a permit from the permit office.
If you are replacing one manufactured home with another, or if you're moving a home and you're replacing it with a manufactured home, you'll need to get a permit prior to. Even if you move your manufactured home from one place on your property to another spot on your property on the same piece, you still have to get a permit from our office.
When planning any type of project that may require a permit, it is best to call the office first to make sure you have everything that's needed before you come in.
call first or visit our website, which will give you a checklist that you can pull up. It's very easy. New residences, manufactured homes. Basic information, though, for obtaining a permit is usually your legal description of your piece of property, health unit approval for any type of sewer system that you are wanting to install or tie into, a good site plan, something hand-drawn. It doesn't have to be professionally done, showing where the proposed structure is going to be and any existing structures that are on the property, storage buildings, workshops, where your driveway access is, property lines, width and depth of your property. This gives us a good idea of what is out there, where it's going to be placed, so that we can make sure that your setbacks are going to be met. Those are all things that we look for. Once you come in with all the documentation that we need to permit, we'll enter it into our computer system as a pending application. We'll submit your plans, commercial, residential, into plans review. Once we get everything back from the plans reviewer, permit officer finishes up entering everything into the permit. Customers called. We give them a total on the permit cost and come on in and pick it up.
For the Parish Line, I'm Jessica Conrad.
The office is available to answer any questions you may have about permits. You can call 721-3610 with questions or visit cppj.net for more information. Woody the bartender on Cheers once said that irony can be pretty ironic sometimes. Well, that phrase would be an apt description of the situation at the parish's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness recently, when during the middle of hurricane season, they were forced to evacuate due to a water leak at their offices in the 911 building on Hodges Street. Thanks to the efforts of many parish employees, they were able to set up their offices in a new location within 24 hours. CGov's J.P. Booth brings us the details.
It's been a hurricane-free season so far in southwest Louisiana, but that didn't prevent the 911 building from receiving flood damage of another type. A broken water line decided to test the Department of Emergency Preparedness and their continuity of operations plan.
Well, we came in early that day. John Butter came in and found that a water line in the second floor of our building had broken and had been running pretty much all night. It flooded the entire office, got all of our papers wet, computers, just everything you can imagine that might be in an office was wet. We actually had just finished our continuity of operations plan where you contemplate making a move like this under emergency circumstances. And while this wasn't caused by a hurricane or a storm, it is the type of damage you might expect to have if you were hit badly by a natural occurrence or something like this. So we had contemplated what to do. We put our plan into action immediately, and really we're only out of service for about 4 hours. We had to get everything picked up. We transferred our phones over to the administration switchboard, so no one lost a call. But by 1 o'clock that day, we were back in operation. And it being hurricane season, tropical storm Bonnie was on the horizon. We had to get our EOC back in operation immediately, and so we were able to move the vital functions of our EOC over to the 901 Lakeshore location in one day and get it set up and ready to go for a briefing on the next day. Our plan generally, and we encourage everyone to have a plan like this, a continuity of operations plan. Our plan generally is to be able to operate in a building really anywhere. So we were able to take all of our equipment and through some wireless internet and other means, we were able to get back up and functioning almost immediately. Through the help of all of the other departments in the police jury, particularly the facility maintenance department and public works, IS, we were able to move almost immediately. It took us about half a day to find a location. We decided that the 901 building would be suitable space-wise. And then the actual move on most of our functions was done on the next day, on a Thursday. So it was really accomplished within about 24 hours of the discovery of the leak.
And for those worried about hurricanes, Grimion says don't worry, we are still prepared.
We have about, we'd say about 85 to 90% functionality in our EOC. We don't have quite as much as our audio-visual stuff as we had in our other EOC, but yeah, we are functional. If something does happen, it's fully functional to support a operation like that. We think we have workarounds on all of the amenities that we had in the other EOC. Fortunately, we're close by a street here, so if we have to have video or other feeds, we can just run it literally right out the door. So in some ways, it's easier to do those kind of things here in this building.
In the event of structural damage from a natural disaster, Grumio encourages all business owners to develop a relocation plan.
Continuity of operations is one of the concepts that we teach people and we talk to people about year-round. You never know what might happen. At first we thought maybe the sprinkler system went off. Most commercial buildings have sprinklers. It could be a fire, it could be a tornado, it could be a windstorm, a hailstorm. Anything might put your business out of business. And we urge people to have a relocation plan like this so that if something does happen to their facility, they'll be able to move and continue, because one of the important issues that we have in the recovery phase, particularly from a big natural disaster, is having our businesses be back up and running as soon as possible.
For the Parish Line, I'm J.P. Booth.
If all goes well, they hope to move back into their original offices after hurricane season ends. Calcasieu Parish is home to numerous bodies of water. Lakes, rivers, marshes, canals, and access to the Gulf of Mexico make Calcasieu home to all types of activity on the water, from fishing to skiing to pleasure boating. In this piece, the Parish Line will take you on a tour of the numerous boat launches operated by the parish and help you decide which one is right for your specific boating plans. We'll start our tour in the far northwest corner of Calcasieu at the beautiful Alligator Park north of Starks. The park is just off Highway 109 and offers camping, picnic facilities, and pavilions, as well as a large boat ramp. The ramp gives you access to Old River Slough, which is a tributary of the Sabine River. Just a mile or so south of Highway 12 west of Starks is the Bass Lake Boat Launch. This smaller facility has no amenities but has plenty of parking and offers access to the Sabine River. The launch is at the very southern end of Bass Lake Road. One of the most interesting boat launches in Calcasieu Parish is the old Highway 90 boat launch southwest of Toomey. Old Highway 90 was Calcasieu Parish's link to Orange, Texas from the 1920s until the 1950s. The bridge over the swamps near the Sabine River was built on wooden piers, and after it was replaced in the 1950s, it burned. Many of the old bridge pilings are still visible where the pavement ends with the boat launch. The launch has no facilities but has a large parking area, a pier, and access to the marshes of southwest Louisiana and the Sabine River. The Vinton Canal Boat Launch is a few miles south of Vinton in western Calcasieu Parish. It gives boaters access to the Vinton Canal, which leads to the Intracoastal Waterway several miles to the south. The launch has no amenities but has a large area for parking, and it can be reached from Johnny Bro Road off of Gray Road or from Highway 108. Moving back to the east, our Parish Boat Launch tour on the Parish Line heads to the Highway 108 boat launch in the Carlos area. The small boat launch has no amenities and limited parking, but does have a fishing pier. Boaters gain access to Shoe Peak Bayou. One of the largest boat launches in Calcasieu Parish is at Intracoastal Park, south of Sulphur and Carlos. The park has camping, pavilions, picnic facilities, and playground equipment. It's just off Highway 27 near the Ellender Bridge. The boat launch gives access to the Intracoastal Waterway, which leads to Calcasieu Lake, the Calcasieu Ship Channel, and Moss Lake. The boat launch also has a fish station for cleaning your catch. Staying on the west side of the parish but moving to the north side of Sulphur, we now head to the Anthony Ferry Boat Launch. This boat launch has a huge parking area, a pier, and a gazebo. Boaters launch their craft into Houston River. The launch is on Anthony Ferry Road just off Houston River Road, about 5 miles northeast of Sulphur. A few miles north is Holbrook Park, just off Holbrook Park Road. On the west fork of the Calcasieu River, Holbrook Park is nestled in the woods of northern Calcasieu Parish. It has a small boat launch near one of the campgrounds with a small parking area. The park has pavilions, picnic areas, playgrounds, and a small lake for shore fishing. Also offering access to the west fork of the Calcasieu is the West Fork Boat Launch near Sam Houston Jones State Park in Moss Bluff. It can be accessed from Sutherland Road near Highway 378. The launch grants easy access to either fork of the Calcasieu River or Houston River. It has adequate parking but no facilities. Our Calcasieu boat launch tour on the Parish line moves south into Westlake, where Riverside Park sits on the edge of the Calcasieu River on Miller Avenue. The launch overlooks the historic Interstate 10 bridge, and boaters can access Lake Charles easily from there. Riverside Park features a picnic pavilion and a fishing pier. Just east of Moss Bluff on Old Highway 171 near Terrio Road is the Moss Bluff Boat Launch. This is a large boat launch with plenty of parking and a pier. It gives boaters access to the east fork of the Calcasieu River. The launch is at the site of the proposed River Bluff Park, which is still in the development process. Two smaller boat launches are available nearby. First is the English Bayou Boat Launch at the end of Old Highway 171 between Moss Bluff and Lake Charles. It has limited parking and no facilities, but a beautiful view of the bayou. Goodman Road Boat Launch is a mile or so east. Again, it has limited facilities and parking with access to English Bayou. White Oak Park is on the east fork of the Calcasieu River just off River Road. It's about 4 miles from Interstate 10. It's a beautiful full-service park with camping, a playground, picnic tables, and pavilions. The boat launch is large, offers lots of parking space, and has a fishing wharf. Our Calcasieu Parish boat launch tour on the Parish line heads east now to Lorraine Park. It's on Lorraine Road, about 2 miles off of LA 101. The park has camping, pavilions, picnic facilities, and the boat launch into Lacassine Bayou. The park overlooks the historic Lorraine Bridge. 2 wharves and a fish cleaning area are also available at the park. A few miles east near Bell City is the Rossignol Boat Launch on Rossignol Road. The large boat ramp offers access to the Bell City Drainage Canal. The launch has a large parking area and a pavilion. Moving back toward Lake Charles in southern Calcasieu Parish, 2 small launches give boaters access to Black Bayou. First is the Black Bayou Boat Launch on Highway 385. There are no amenities and limited parking here. Next is the Nelson Road Boat Launch at the southern end of Nelson Road. It too has no amenities but has a large parking area. Calcasieu Point Landing is a major full-service parish park with a large boat launch to several of the top inland saltwater fishing areas in Calcasieu Parish, including the industrial and intracoastal canals, plus Turner's Bay and Calcasieu Lake. The boat launch has 3 lanes, plenty of parking, and a full-service store. The park offers bank and pier fishing. Calcasieu Point Landing is on Henry Pugh Road, just off Highway 384, about 10 miles south of Lake Charles. Crean Lake Park is Calcasieu Parish's newest park, opening in 2007. The park has indoor and outdoor pavilions, an elevated boardwalk and walking paths, plus an amphitheater. The park on Prion Lake Road, just south of the city of Lake Charles and Interstate 210, has one of the largest boat launches in the parish into Indian Bay on the eastern shore of Prion Lake. Our final location in our boat launch tour is Israel LaFleur Park, right beneath the Interstate 210 bridge in Lake Charles on Kiwanis Drive. The park has a beach, a pavilion, and picnic tables, plus a huge boat launch with lots of parking available. The boat launch has one of the only places to launch a kayak in the parish. That's our Parish Line tour of all the parish-owned boat launches in Calcasieu. For more information on these boat launches, or for more details on any of the stories on this month's program, visit cppj.net. Thanks for watching the Parish Line.